welcome to ECCB Connects, a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. Have you noticed food prices going up, or that your favorite vegetables are harder to find? Behind all of that is a bigger issue: food security. And it starts with the farmers. In this program, we visit the Nevis Hydro Gardens to speak with a veteran farmer. Stay with us for the conversation. We'll be right back. Have you seen the Grenada 50? The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, in collaboration with the government of Grenada, issued the Grenada $50 note in July 2024 to commemorate Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. The Grenada 50 is printed on polymer. It is the same size and includes similar security features as the current EC banknotes in circulation. This limited edition $50 banknote was issued exclusively in Grenada, but it can be used in any of the ECCB member countries. The Grenada $50 note is legal tender. This means that it can be used for any of your standard and over-the-counter business transactions. Thanks for staying connected. Farming is part of our island lifestyle. Many of us learn to farm from our parents and grandparents. Whether it's in the backyard or on bigger plots, we know what it is to grow the seasonings for the pot or the little tomatoes and cucumbers for the salad. But with food prices climbing and supply chain problems, farming can no longer be just a hobby. It's about our survival. It's about food security. Danny, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Well, welcome to my farm. It's always a pleasure to be back with my colleagues from ECCB.
Great, and it's a pleasure to be here and to see the great work that you are doing here. Take us back on your farming journey.
I am from a farming family on both sides. My grandmother worked in the cotton fields and the estate, the government estates in New River. I grew up with her there. And then my father, he was responsible for water, catchment and delivery throughout the island. And so the catchment area was about 14 acres, and he had lots of crops planted. So I had an immersion into things agricultural from a very early age on both sides. And so I always thought that, I'll find myself doing these kinds of outdoor stuff that interacted with plants and nature. And so agriculture is a logical place. And then my sensitivity to, sensitive use in water and the environment led me to, further education and training in Guyana and in the United States, where I got, formal certification.
Give us an idea as to the makeup of your farm.
This farm is about a little more than 5 acres. I call it a sustainable farming operations. It's crop-based. We have over 120 different species of, fruit, vegetable, herbs, grasses, crop species that are of academic, medicinal, and even food and nutritional value. We're solar based. We have 10 kilowatt hours of farm capacity, and so we use that mainly for all of our power needs. And then we have water harvesting, where we have a couple of thousands of gallons of water, rainwater that is harvested when there rains and then used when there is no rainfall. And we have all of the different types of technologies, from the latest hydroponics. We were the pioneers in that. And then we have ground cover, we have drip irrigation, we have open field, we have vegetable farming, we have high density farming, we have block farming. So for persons who do not have the resources to have large acreage, you can have some 6 inches or 8 inches blocks, and then you can put them down, you can cultivate the soil, and you have layers of pen manure, soil, organic matter, and then you can do a lot of harvesting there, which, you know, have a significant impact on your health, your nutrition, and even the macro indicators in terms of food security issues.
So Danny, it's safe to say that farming is not just a hobby for you.
Agriculture is a very wide discipline. You have 7 major branches of agriculture. You have crops, you have livestock, you have forestry, you have also the diagnostic agriculture aspect, like the soil analysis and water analysis and, you know, sustainable land management. There's several aspects, and as a result, because it's a continuum and a very complex web of interrelated issues, farming is by no means, you know, a simple feat, and it is also that base of the Maslow hierarchy of needs is food, and you know, food comes from a certain amount of human input, a certain amount of application of technology, and then and a responsible use of additives into, whether it be chemicals, insecticides, pesticides, into the environment. And I think that is where persons like myself who take it so seriously feel that there's a need for that continued public education and public awareness, because it is fundamental, it is germane, it is seminal to our very existence. It's existential, you know, for us to make sure that farming is afforded the right place, a pride of place, I mean, in national development.
And if ever a time that food and food security is important, it's now.
I totally agree with you. When you see the dysfunction of that's being caused on global food systems, supply chains, with 2 succeeding issues. First, it was COVID and all the attendant problems of increase in transportation costs, increase in logistics, and then you have the changes, political changes, where there is exclusion and the tarification of agriculture items. That is significant to global security in terms of food. I think it should be a major eye-opener for individuals, communities, countries, and regions. And the Caribbean region and our federation and myself as a farmer, I'm very sensitive to that.
How do you see that connection between farming and food security?
Well, that's the ultimate connection. First, you need several factors. You need a security of land, tenure. You have to be able to have land that you feel secure that you'll have the land for a particular period of time. Otherwise, you're not going to want to invest in something that someone can easily come tomorrow, a political change, and someone tell you you have to leave their land. So there is that. Security is land availability, then land accessibility, then the security of tenure. Then you have to look at the land adaptability. This is how easy it is for you to clean the land, prepare it, cultivate it, keep it weed-free, grow the kinds of crops with a minimum of predation from marauding livestock or monkeys, you know, or invasive species, you know. So it's a continuum. So when those things are all taken together in a strategic way, and the person who is the farmer, the primary person in this mix, decides that they will go and take an area and master the management and operation and harvesting and post-harvesting and the value addition of a particular crop or a series of crops, that person becomes a blueprint, a best practice for integrating good farming with the security, because the security comes first from the success of the farming enterprises working together, so as to ensure there is consistency, that there is affordability, and then you have to look at all the other logistics and distribution elements.
From your experience, what do you think are some of the major support systems that you think farmers need?
Well, farmers need security of tenure.
Right.
They must have some comfort in the land that they have available to them, that they will have it for an extended period of time. That's the first thing. The second thing that the farmers, they need a capable extension service from the government side, because you must have someone who can teach you what you don't know. And then, so you must have two realms of interaction. One is for methods, so you can learn new methods. And then the other one is from results. There's a demonstration where you see some place where it has worked, and then you can say, well, you aspire to that. So once you have those sorts of things, I think it enables you to prepare yourself to become a major player in the whole food security thing.
Danny, it's not enough for us to depend on, let's say, a handful of farmers. Each of us can do something in our backyards and so on, just to make sure that we have maybe just a seasoning for our pots, or grow some tomatoes or something so that we can have for our salad. What would you say to encourage ordinary people to get something going in the backyard?
Having many people doing backyard gardening at different levels, it goes to two things. It goes to pride, it goes to nutrition, and it also goes to affordability, because you can afford it if everybody is doing some little thing. If I did the herbs and the chives and some of the green seasoning, I might save 20 to 30% of my grocery bill. If I do that, that contributes favorably to my nutrition. If we can encourage persons in their backyard, because that is what I knew of, but then it was called subsistence farming. But that was when in every family they had a fruit tree, and they had some chives, some herbs for making tea. You had an animal, maybe a fowl or something that you can get eggs from, and that's all a part of farming. And what we're saying is that all of those complementary things, they can work together to be down to food security, food and nutrition, improvement. They can create employment through value added, because if you have surplus, then persons can get into processing or making smoothies. All of those are value added. But it is something that's natural, it's fresh, and it lacks the preservatives, and it lacks the processing that denatures the product. Because once items are dried and then have to be reconstituted, it's really nothing like the basic new thing when it has living amino acids and that sort of thing.
Well, Danny, thank you so much. We're going to pause this conversation. We're going to have to take it back up next time.
Yes.
And you're going to take us around your farm.
Yes.
And we're going to discuss this whole concept of from farm to table.
Yes.
Yes.
The continuum from seed to stomach. We will do that.
Right.
Hi, I am Tiki, the owner of Tiki Gap Fresh Fruits and Vegetables, located on Ponds Pasture. And you are watching ECCB Connects.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects. We spoke with veteran farmer Daniel Arthurton about the importance of food security. We'll continue this conversation in our next program. Be sure to join us then.